Lovely listeners, you are down the red rabbit hole again. Why do you keep coming back? We don't know, but there you go. I'm guessing you're coming back to see how well Heather Critchlow has fared down the red rabbit hole for a whole week.
Still here.
She's here. She's well. Look at her. She's smiling. She's
I'm
happy.
happy.
It's all good. It's all good. She's not mouthed help me once. Not that we've seen anyway.
I wasn't listening anyway. If she did, I was covered in mud, got it wrong, got it in my eyes, couldn't see a thing.
You're preparing your sack again. That's what.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to get the next one now.
Victim.
So I am author
Yes.
NV Peacock, otherwise known as Nicky, and with me, of course, you've already heard, is Lisa Shepherd. Lisa,
Hello, I'm here again.
you're here again.
Congratulations. Comedian and therapist, but probably more a therapist than comedian. We'll put that in little letters.
I think it depends on the day, doesn't it?
It does indeed. It really
What
does.
kind of day
That's
you
true.
having?
Yeah. That's very true.
And of course, Heather Critchlow is an author of, quite a lot of, psychological thrillers, crime thrillers, and a new dystopian we discovered as well, which is quite worrying.
Yeah.
She seems to have Nostradamus the whole COVID thing.
Thank you for having me still in your rabbit hole, tied up.
That's okay. We will loosen the ties, don't worry.
We'll let you out after this.
Give me some
Yeah.
water or something.
You haven't given her water, Lisa. Have you at least fed her something?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Over iron brew.
Of course.
It was left over from our Corby special, so I'm
Yes.
just sort of pumping that out at the moment. Got it off the back of a van when I was in Corby. I'm not sure on the dates on it, but it's fine. Absolutely fine.
It's still
There's nothing
bright
yet to
orange.
go off
So
in Iron Brew, so
Even in this dystopian future, there'll still be iron brew. Don't worry.
it'll be the last thing standing.
Yeah.
do you know what?
Cockroaches.
Have you ever tried Iron Brew jelly babies?
No.
My God, I don't know whether it's just Corby they sell them in, but my God, they're good.
Ooh.
Sounds like a Corby thing.
There's Ribena jelly babies as well, so it can't be just
Oh,
Corby, but yeah. Get yourself down to Home Bargains.
look out for that.
Other shops are available, although I don't think they sell them, but hey, we'll see.
So
So
you could be sponsored by Iron Brew Jelly
if
Babies.
only, yeah.
I'd love
Just
that.
eating them on air.
That would be brilliant.
There wouldn't be much talking though.
Just eat them.
So Heather, we were talking about men going missing,
Yes.
and there was the case in Tenerife. Lisa,
Which was Jay Slater. So
Jay Slater.
sorry everybody that I couldn't remember last week, but I have looked it up. And yes, of course, it was Jay Slater who went missing in June in 2024. And we were talking a little bit about kind of the media response to that and some of the absolutely bizarre things. And actually, when I looked it up, one of the statements said it wasn't TikTokers who found him in the end. It was actually the police searching. But there were, I think, lots of people had traveled to the island as well to try and find him. But they did find him, and it was consistent that he'd had a fall. So they think he'd probably walked a little bit off the path and had taken a fall. But when we were talking about kind of how the media might represent a male person who goes missing, and as opposed to a child or a woman, I think that some of the things about him kind of drinking, he was drunk, he was unsteady, this sort of kind of victim blaming before we even know. We're kind of victim blaming him for going missing before we even know what's happened.
Yeah, there's a lot of judgments made. I think that the whole sort of people traveling and inserting themselves in the investigation is quite an interesting trend as well that seems to happen now. Like you have the case of Nicola Bulley as well, where just people went crazy, treating it like some sort of game. Or I do think that's maybe where the sort of podcasting arena has gone too far and the true crime thing has gone too far, is that people always feel like they have a right to go and make those judgments. And then you get people kind of acting as judge and jury, don't you, and deciding that it was this member of the family, or it must have been this, or that must have happened. And how awful to have your loved one go missing and to be looking for them, and then to have somebody accusing you at the same time. And again, I think it's this like feeling that we have now that we deserve to know, or I think it's almost like the human
Mm.
brain can't quite compute that we don't have the answer to this. We've got the answer to so many things. Um, and it is unfathomable, really, that in this day and age, somebody in a fairly busy area with other people around can just vanish. But it does happen, and it does often happen around water, I think.
Mm.
That is something that, like, I think people find it hard to believe that there's no foul play sometimes. When I mean, sometimes there might be, because we were talking about this Manchester case, weren't we, with the canals,
Oh
The
gosh,
Manchester pusher.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you were saying that they think there's a serial killer at play, but other times it literally is somebody falling in, and you'd think that people would float or be easily found, and that's just not the case. You can be sucked under for days. Um, so I have a healthy fear of water, I think, for that
Yeah.
reason. I used to teach kayaking to children, so had to do like whitewater safety courses and things. And um, again, I think when you've got an overactive imagination, you kind of play out all the disaster scenarios, don't you? Um,
Well,
Yeah.
what's the percentage? Like the Earth is 70% water, is it? And we only know like 5% of what's in the sea because it's
yeah.
so deep. Who knows what's
Mm.
actually down there? I mean, we're living on a mystery
Yes.
that
Yeah.
I don't think we're ever going to solve. I don't think we're ever going to get the technology to have a look.
Oh, have you heard what
No.
they've done with the Titanic though?
No, what have they
They've
done with
they've
Titanic?
sent down
Leonardo
two little
DiCaprio.
spots. No, well, they called them Romeo and Juliet, but they absolutely
Mm.
should have called them Jack and Rose, surely. But anyway, they sent down two little, and the technology is probably way beyond my tiny little brain. But it mapped the Titanic wreck. So they took like billions of photographs and images of it and then mapped out the entirety of the wreck and how it looks now. And
Yeah.
then they done a documentary where they're projecting it onto a massive screen. So for the presenters, it does almost look like they're walking on the seabed looking at it.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible? And it's sort of it's added evidence to support some of the witness statements at the time. So even
Mm.
however long after, that happened, they were able to, and with something, evidence that has been at the bottom of the sea
Yeah.
for over 100 years, they're able to go and say, yes, the lights probably were still on because this little hatch is still open. And that's what the
Wow.
witnesses told us at the time. Just, yeah.
I guess at
But so
least
maybe they could map.
we vaguely know what happened there, though, don't we? Because we have got those witness statements. But if somebody
Well,
there's what was the case? Was it Natalie Wood that went missing on the boat? The
Yeah.
oh
actress
gosh, yeah. Yeah.
and
There's quite a lot of
overboard.
cases, aren't there, of people going overboard places, and you just don't know, like dark things happen at sea, basically, and you don't know what it's like.
Mm.
Cruises, quite a lot of people
Yeah.
vanish on cruises. So yeah, quite scared of
Gosh.
cruises as a result of
Well,
things
there
like that.
was a time when cruises were the absolute height, weren't they?
You were. Yeah.
Holiday. If you were on a cruise, you were classy. Yeah, you
Yeah.
even had a night that it was your night to have dinner with the captain and make sure you take an outfit for it. But now, no. Bit
Anyone could
scared
go
of
on
them
them.
now. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's so the thing is, it's like a closed, like a locked room mystery, isn't it? If someone goes missing on a
Mm.
cruise ship, but it's like, but they've clearly gone overboard. If they're not on the ship,
Where else could they have
they
gone?
must be overboard
Where
somewhere.
else could they have
And there
gone?
is ways
Yeah.
of, you can slip. It's never as safe as you think it is, and of course there is foul play. And if there's no CCTV, you couldn't tell. You wouldn't be able to know. And even if there is CCTV, I
Mm.
mean, in that case we talked about on the other episode, the case with the airman in the bin, there was a lot of CCTV around that case,
Mm.
but nothing that actually showed exactly what happened.
Mm.
Oh, we've lost Heather. Heather will be back. She escaped.
Oh no, I mustn't have tied the ropes. I'm not a sailor. I wasn't very good at tying those knots.
No, she's escaped. She'll come back. She'll come back. So what about you? I mean, what sort of men going missing cases strike you, Lisa, as
said when you were looking, there were only a couple. I feel like there are a few more, but I think as Heather had highlighted, it's a lot of young men, isn't it? Because as we were talking about it, I was thinking about the Manchester pusher, and isn't there one that he was on the phone to his parents and he
Yes.
was terrified?
Yeah, he was
He was
literally getting
absolutely,
attacked.
yeah, he was terrified. So, yeah, I mean, there was a documentary about that, wasn't there? That is really scary. And
Yeah.
actually, it's really easy to get pushed into a bit of water
Well,
and disappear.
with the canals at the time with the weather, Heather's come back. She
Back.
escaped, but then she came back. We've
I don't know
Stockholm
what happened
syndromed
there.
her.
I vanished from the rabbit hole. It was very weird.
That's okay.
Sorry.
So
Outer rabbit hole experience.
Oh, yeah.
yes. So we were talking about the kind of Manchester pusher and the canals, but with those canal cases on really bad weather, you can be in that water for like 2 minutes and get hypothermia and you can't move
Yeah.
and you will die. But it's hard to get out of a canal. If you've not got anyone there to help you get out of it, you can't like climb up the side of it because it's all
Yeah.
slippery and you're not really meant to be in there.
And
No.
actually, it's so easy, isn't it, to fall
Yeah.
in? That's the kind of edge that makes me a bit, just nervous straight away.
But what
Mainly, I think, because I have children, but like just an uncovered edge with any kind of fall on the other side of it makes me
There's a
nervous.
lot of like bars and restaurants and things around those canals, aren't there, in Manchester?
yeah,
Mm.
So
because
it's
they're
quite
pretty.
easy to yeah.
It's hard, but what I would say is that that's the same scenario in a lot of other places. I mean, there's a lot of places with more canals than Manchester. However, Manchester has more murders, effectively, or deaths by misadventure, as they're perhaps putting them down, by young men. Like
You,
a lot more.
these days there'd be enough CCTV, wouldn't you? That
You
you could
kind of
like
hope that. I
it's crazy that you could be in Manchester city centre and
No
die
one's
and
really looking. I
Mm.
have a suspicion. This is just my theory, but I have a suspicion we don't have as much CCTV as the country is claiming.
no, that's shocked and appalled people.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just to stop people from doing things. Yeah, we're watching you, but I don't
yeah,
think they really are. And a lot of cameras don't work. I mean, the closest, I mean, if they did, why would the police go around asking for doorbell footage if something
Mm.
yeah,
goes awry? They're
yeah.
asking like civilians effectively for their doorbell footage.
We've
So
provided doorbell footage.
have you?
Yeah, our neighbour over the road was targeted by people pretending to be roofers who sort of claimed that stuff needed doing to her roof and got money and stuff from her. And my some other neighbours got suspicious. We were away, but the neighbours got suspicious and alerted the police, and the police came and chased them. One of them got away, and they got one of them. But it was all on our Ring doorbell.
Oh,
Well, do you know what? You're not the first person to have told me that their Ring doorbell footage has been used in a case. I've got
There's
one
a
now.
there's a
Mainly,
link and everything. You can upload your evidence.
yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, we've recently got a Ring doorbell. We didn't kind of have not a Ring one. It's like a different one, but basically one that you can film. But all it means is that when I come back from like a run and I'm like all red faced and go, as I come through the door, it alerts my husband. He goes, "Did you have a nice run, love?" I really did at the time. I really didn't want to be seen.
No, you don't need that recorded,
Nobody
do
to look
you?
at me. Thank you very much.
Just go in and delete the footage, mess with
Yeah.
it, and look really suspicious. And actually, you were just kind of deleting your run.
Yeah, yeah. What was it? Behind you. That would be just my luck, wouldn't it, as well? That behind me was a crime going on, and that was the piece of footage that they then asked for.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
and you
you look like
implicated
crap.
yourself in
But
it
that
because you were.
woman help. No, she was just she was fighting for her life because she tried to go for a run.
There's legal implications as well with these doorbell cameras because you're not supposed to train them on your neighbors
No, that's true.
without their permission and things because you can be, there's laws like not GDPR, but the kind of public, watching
Yeah,
other people because you could have a stalker that's put a
Mm.
doorbell camera up somewhere that is
that's
literally
true.
just watching your home.
Yeah, that's true. No,
Your front door's there, but it's looking that way. That way.
It's looking in your bedroom
that's
window.
true.
Ding dong.
It turned out there.
Oh dear.
But your home is meant to be your safe place, isn't it? And I
Yeah.
mean, one of the things that we talked about, Heather, in our week
Mm.
down the rabbit hole was one of your books had a doorstep killing.
Yeah, yeah. So my second book, which is called Unburied, has there is a mother who is killed on the doorstep. She's shot on the doorstep of her remote farmhouse while her children are playing in the back garden, two young sons. And I mean, the similarity really sort of ends there. But there's a particular case in Nairn in Scotland, not that far from where I grew up, of a guy who that happened to. Basically, he was getting his kids ready for bed. Somebody came to the door and spoke to his wife and asked for him, and he came to the door and they shot him, and we still don't know who it was now. So that was, I think, it was 20 years ago. It was about 2004. And that just really haunted me. I think it was just the fact that he was just having this normal family evening, young children, what a horrendous thing to happen. And nobody knows why. And they spent all of this time kind of
Mm.
digging into his work life. He's a banker, just to try and see if there was anything, going on there that could explain it. Couldn't find anything, couldn't find any aggrieved clients or dodgy dealings or anything like that. There was no suggestion of any reason why someone would want to hurt this guy. And I think in the last year or so, they are starting to make some progress in that they think it might be related to the development of a hotel nearby and that something was maybe going on with a planning dispute. I'm not quite sure. So what I do is I tend to have these things that kind of haunt me, these cases
Mm.
that send me off on a kind of thought spiral, but I then try not to go and rake back through the case closely because the last thing I want to do is to kind of fictionalize somebody's real pain and real stuff.
Mm.
But I think it is the cases where I just keep thinking about those people and think, oh my God, I wish there was an answer for those people. And I think the fiction is almost a way of giving that answer because at the end of all of my books, I can have a nice, neat ending where yes, we find out who it was and everybody gets some sort of resolution, and it just doesn't happen in real life. And yeah, I find that really hard that it doesn't happen in real life because um yeah, how do people have to live with that? But yeah, there was that one, and then also
Is it,
Jill Dando. There's another
is,
doorstep shooting that is just remains a mystery today.
mm. Was it Alistair Wilson?
Was
Because
Alistair
the
Wilson?
minute you mentioned doorstop, it made me think of it because that case has also really kind of haunted me because it was so just answering your door.
Mm.
Yeah,
And as you say, no reason for it, no idea.
no,
Um, yeah, so it really makes you just for the family to find out, to have some
yeah,
answers, but also just that, when you think, oh, that's a million miles away from me. Well, actually, this one isn't. You could just open the door.
yeah. Just a normal guy
Yeah.
having a normal evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's just so wrong that whoever someone can do that, and
Mm,
we don't even know
yeah,
who it
you never
is, never
know.
mind bring them to justice. It's
I mean,
like with Jill Dando, and I think that was something that
Mm,
really you kind of again with her life. I mean, she was the opposite in a way. She was so high profile in comparison to
mm,
sort of an anonymous person, and yet we still can't work it out. And there's so many threads that I don't know if you watched. There's a documentary a year or two ago where they kind of went back through it all, and they're
mm,
doing a sort of line of investigation. You think, yes, that's got to be it. That's completely convincing. And then someone comes on and goes, well, no, actually, I don't think that is possible because of this, but we think it's this. And they go down, a route, and you think, yes, gosh, of course, but there's just too many theories and too many ideas and no, I mean there was a conviction but then it was overturned, so
mhm. That was Barry George, wasn't it? Didn't you go down
mm,
for about 9 years for it? And
mhm,
actually, exactly like you say, Heather, when you look at the evidence around it, you think, well, actually, yeah, he's a very viable kind of suspect for this because of his behavior and how kind of erratic his behavior was at the time. But then it wasn't, and the poor guy went down, did 9 years for a crime he didn't commit.
mm.
was he a
I know.
stalker then? Was he like her stalker
He
or?
he had pictures. So he had pictures of other high profile kind of women celebrities at the time, like Anthea Turner,
Yes.
and other people like that. But he didn't actually have anything of Jill Dando. But they did when they searched his property, they found a coat that had a little bit of gunpowder, like
Firearms residue, wasn't it?
yeah, firearms
Yeah,
residue in the pocket. But then I think that evidence was thrown out, or it wasn't enough
it
for
was, wasn't it? And
something.
then so yeah, I think that's the thing as well, like when people are complicated and have slightly odd behaviors because he was seen on the street acting
Mm,
suspiciously, and it's really difficult, isn't it, to then know, and then you bring your own prejudices to bear. And I was listening to a podcast. I don't know if you've listened to Up and Vanished,
Mm.
which is a brilliant podcast that did actually result in the,
Finding.
justice.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing. And but at certain points in that, I was listening to it, and I was listening to it through the lens of now, with some police officers involved, and I was like, well, it's them. It's so obviously them. They're dodgy, But of course, that was my prejudice, and it wasn't. And the sort of case takes these twists and turns, and yeah, it's really hard not to jump to conclusions and not to, especially when there's some evidence pointing in a particular direction. So yeah, I think it's the things that haunt me. That's why I kind of explored it in fiction, and I can give a resolution and a reason that we don't get normally.
And Jill Dando is definitely one of those cases that you'd still think, how has this not been
Yeah.
solved? How do we not know? I mean, there's pretty strong evidence, isn't there, pointing to, was it Arkan, who was a sort of political leader in Yugoslavia during the
Oh,
war, and that there was another case, I think, in Germany, but I might be wrong, where there was a very, very similar killing of somebody
yes,
else who was quite high profile and objecting to the war and was asking for support. And I think it was only a few weeks before she died that Jill Dando had done a campaign to support those who'd been displaced. Um,
yes, yeah. There
and
was like
yeah, that
aid
they,
appeals, wasn't there? And she was
yeah,
doing,
and that
yeah,
they perhaps took against it. And I think there was a conviction in, and I'm going to, it's either Germany or France, and I can't remember which, but in terms of that case, there was a conviction for that,
mm,
but they could never, there was not enough evidence, or for whatever reason, they weren't looking at the same people or the same, perhaps, tail of evidences and requests from whoever for that to happen.
mm,
um, the contract for that, they decided not to, that they didn't link it, but it was very similar. I think the firearm was similar. I think the method was very similar from the evidence that they had, because of course there wasn't any, what was it, 1999? Was it that it was
Yeah.
yes,
fired?
yeah.
So yeah, there wasn't any ring cameras. There wasn't any footage then, was there?
No,
I
no,
bet there
and
is
it's
in every house in that Fulham street now.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
bet
Not
there is.
even not even I mean the cameras on mobile phones then would have been really
Mm.
shoddy as well.
yeah.
So it's
Would there even have been in 1999? I'm not sure. I think we just had. I don't even think we had cameras on phones yet, did we?
Mm.
don't
I
know.
got my first phone in 1998, I think, 1999, maybe about then, and it was
Mm.
a Nokia.
Yeah, yeah, when the
Ah,
drug dealer
Yeah,
flip phones, my mum still had
yeah.
that phone.
pre 2010.
Yeah.
It was,
Is
it
that what they
was,
were? Pre 2010 or something?
it was.
Yeah,
It was those
they're
like,
making a
yeah,
comeback though, aren't they?
they
Yeah,
are
Yeah.
I
for
think because
kids.
people want them for their children,
Mm,
because that exact thing, you can't get on the internet, you can't do anything else with it, you can just make calls. That's all, and
just
play
a
Snake.
phone.
That's all
Yeah,
you can do
basically.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was my first phone. So no, I don't think we would have had anything like that, really honest.
There'd have been
Um,
DNA evidence. I mean, we've had
Hmm.
DNA for
but
a
that's,
little.
Mm.
I think that's the thing about the shooting, isn't it? It's like it's very impersonal. It's not,
Yeah. It's not like a
a lot of.
stabbing that's going to have both sets of DNA attached.
Mm.
Mm,
And I think there was something about that was suggested in the line of inquiry, that it was a contract killing, because the gun, it was adapted. So it was either old and had been brought back to being a firearm, or it was like a pop gun of something else. It wasn't
yeah,
a firearm, but they had adapted it to make it into a firearm, and that it was very, very close range. So it would have been quiet, and there wouldn't have been a lot of flashback onto the person who was doing it.
yeah,
So that's why they think potentially a contract killing, because whoever did this knew not to, if it was someone like Barry George who didn't, he obviously, as we were saying, maybe a bit of an odd guy, but
yes.
probably doesn't know how to, do something like that quickly and effectively.
Also, it feels quite professional in the fact that we're
Mm.
now so far in the future and we don't know. It feels like a
Mm,
crazy individual or would not have been able to hide that from
mm.
people in their life, or it's just a bit too well covered up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can imagine the
Yeah.
police were under a lot of pressure to get that solved. And so
Mm,
that strange guy presented
Mm,
himself as a good
mm,
opportunity to
yeah.
to say, yeah, okay, this is it. Whether they believed it or not, it's a good way of getting
mm,
that case off the books. So I can imagine that
Mm,
was, railroading someone. Maybe he did do it, maybe he didn't. We just don't know. And that's, but
mm,
then they don't usually maintain their innocence for that amount of time, do they?
mm.
mm. I like
And
to
it's
think that we
very
might,
rare for somebody to get acquitted in the UK.
Yeah.
yeah,
Very
Yeah, it's
rare.
very hard to do.
Yeah.
yeah, on
Sorry, Heather,
appeal.
you were saying.
Yeah, I like to think that maybe one day we will know. And this is another thing
Mm,
that I try and explore in my books is this idea that, as time goes on and, 20 years in the future, allegiances change. And maybe people who didn't speak out at the time, if you have a podcast where somebody's going back through everything, maybe, perspectives change as well. Maybe somebody
mm,
didn't say something and knew something now has children and sees things from a different point of view because they've got a son the age that, the victim was or something like that. So I
mm,
do think there's always hope that we might find out. Somebody might speak out. There was that Ben Needham case, wasn't there? The little boy who went missing.
Mm,
mm,
Was it a Greek island?
yeah.
yeah.
Eventually, they did find out somebody made a deathbed confession that there'd been an accident with a digger or something. And yeah, how sad that
Mm,
that poor family had to go through all those years of not knowing what really
yeah.
happened. But they did
Is
get the answer.
is that closed now, that case?
I
Then.
I don't know whether it all did officially get wrapped up or
Mm,
whether it was just that was. I'm not sure they
I
found
think
him.
yeah, yeah, I'm the same. I think they still haven't found him, so that can't. And I think if
Can't.
this
Yeah.
deathbed confession said where he was, and they still haven't found him, then we can't confirm that it was true. Just thinking about, our sort of fascination with true crime and all these podcasts, and thinking it's quite a new thing. Crime Watch was
yeah.
massive in the 90s.
Yeah.
There's even a
Yeah.
theory, isn't there, that, Jill Dando had done a Crime Watch case that got somebody put away, and it was retribution for that. But
Yeah.
that was, we weren't all watching Crime Watch. I mean, we were all watching, actually, hoping that we might have some evidence, that we might be
We
able
could
to
crack the
help.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't there I don't know, forgive me if this isn't true, but there was a rumor that there was a Crime Watch like reenactment where the actual perpetrator was the actor playing the criminal. I'm sure that happened because everyone was ringing up going, he looks just like the
Oh wow.
photo
Way to
fit.
Wow.
hide in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
That's the
with
sort of thing that your editor, if you put that in a book,
yeah,
your editor will be like, no, that's
no,
completely unrealistic. That would
yeah.
never happen.
That
Too
would never
far-fetched.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the whole kind of ethos behind Crime Watch was actually more to do with the police knew what had happened, but they needed
Yeah.
the evidence. So they needed people to come forward to
Mm,
say, to be witnesses because they just hadn't found anybody. And I think
Uh,
that's a horrible, it's probably a horrible truth that that's the case in most cases. That they
mm,
have a suspicion, they know who's committed the crime, but without a witness or without any evidence, they can't bring it to court.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I still rely on people stepping forward and being willing to say what they've seen yeah. Or for people to notice something unusual. Because how many
Yeah.
times do things go on around us? And these days we've got heads on our phones all the
Mm-hmm.
time. We're not really looking around as much maybe as we once were. We need to go back to curtain twitching.
We don't need to. We're on our phone
Ring
watching our
doorbells.
Ring doorbell footage. Seeing who's just got home. Going, oh, there's me shopping. Wait, I'm coming.
Oh, Joyce is walking along the street again.
What are they having done? What are they over there now? Oh, how are they affording all of that? Maybe I am still a bit of a curtain twitcher. I don't know.
I think we all are at heart.
I think it's it's an English pastime. I don't
Yeah.
think it should get lost.
No,
But
it's a
mostly
natural.
you don't know your neighbors now though. That's the problem. That you know some of them, but you
Yeah.
don't know all of them. And people will move, and you won't even realize they've moved until you see someone new and you think, what's going on there? And it's kind of hard, it's hard to actually get to know people nowadays. But like you said, it could be just a case of not realizing something's going on. If we're not that
Yeah.
observant anymore, are we ever, are we really going to notice anything?
Yeah, because you do have these horrible cases, don't you, of people who've died at home, and not been found for sort of 3 or 4 years sometimes. And yeah, it's very sad the way people can fall through the cracks and we don't notice.
I don't know, you'd kind of think that if the rent isn't being paid, that they'd get rolled over by the bank quite quick just to get the
I
house
know.
back.
It's amazing though that sometimes people have just, and had family who they were estranged from or who thought they'd gone away or yeah.
Yeah. Or
Scary.
wasn't there one where the telly was on for 2
Yeah.
years?
And there were Christmas presents wrapped up and things, weren't there? So they knew kind of when
Yeah.
it was from and yeah.
Wow.
This is the
Gosh, you
world
just,
we live in.
yeah. Yeah. Do we just not care enough about each other? Or do we only care if we meet a certain profile? Like we were saying about the difference between, men and women and children, and which cases kind of jump up and stick with us and which don't.
Mm.
Mm. I
Who
mean,
we
we've
who we
covered
go
it
looking
before.
for.
Yeah, we've covered it before regarding like profiles of people, and in terms of like even the race can make a massive difference as to whether or not they get
Mm,
any media exposure at all, which is one of the saddest things ever.
that's
Yeah,
awful, isn't it?
it really is.
Mm,
Although in saying that, like death,
yes.
we mentioned deathbed confessions. I think that's a weird warren all in itself.
Oh, are you inviting Heather back?
Maybe, yeah, if she or she came back on
Well,
her own. She
Yes.
obviously she escaped, but then came back. It
I
was like
know.
the outside world was nothing compared to the
Drawn.
red rabbit hole. Yeah, she can't live in the outside world anymore,
when she's
clearly.
training for her next ultra marathon, I'll just be waiting.
Behind a bush, like to jump out.
I think you could
on
outrun her
on
though,
mile
Heather.
99, so I know that you won't be able to put up much of a fight.
Mile 99.
I'm already hallucinating by that stage,
Yeah.
Not going to seem strange.
See a giant red rabbit running after
Yeah.
you.
Actually, I'd probably do anything to stop running. I'd happily jump down the rabbit
Yeah.
hole.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It's fine. Yeah. What are we talking about?
We've got your back, don't worry.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, listeners and viewers, we are going to wrap it up. So do remember to follow the Red Rabbit on all your social medias. We are, Lisa, we're everywhere, aren't we? We're everywhere.
We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We're not everywhere. I don't do X. We're
No,
not on
nobody
for
does
X.
X
No,
anymore.
nobody does X anymore. So we don't do X, and I'm not as newfangled enough to deal with some of those new ones like Blue Sky. Maybe we'll get there. But we've got YouTube.
We've got YouTube,
into,
yeah.
we're moving with the times now. We got YouTube. Hi. Give us a thumbs up, please. Subscribe, follow, comment. We'd love to hear from you. We are a baby podcast taking our first few hops into the world, and we'd love your support. If you enjoy the content, let us know what you think.
And of course, Heather is going to leave us some links so you can find her books. They're available in all good bookshops, Heather.
They are, yes.
And of course, and in audio version, you're on Belinda.
I am, yes.
On
Really
BorrowBox.
excited.
Yay.
People have started to listen to it. Yeah, I think they've started sending out advance copies because the book isn't out for a few weeks. So
Fantastic.
Well, this is probably coming out, although we are filming officially in April. This is probably going to be about July time, in theory. So it's out.
Get
out.
it. Go now.
Yes. Yeah, we're giving all our secrets away. We do film in advance, listeners. Just in case.
You never know what might happen.
No, we don't. Well, you're going to predict it anyway in your next.
Yeah, that's it. You know what's happening in the future. Soon we'll all be down here. This will be it. Yeah. In the future, we all just live in rabbit holes. So there'll be a time where this will just be general viewing. It won't even be strange.
We're leaders of the pack. That's what we're doing.
In fact, yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Heather, for joining us for the 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay, it's a pleasure. And we will see you all, and you'll hear us next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.